94.1 FM. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Spurs about to tip off as they play their final game before the All-Star break as they're in Boston to take on the defending champions Celtics. In other NBA news, Brandon Ingram has a new 3-year, $120 million extension with the Toronto Raptors after being traded from New Orleans last week at the deadline. The Texans, well, their former offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, has a new gig, joining the Dolphins to be their senior pass game coordinator.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me. However you may be joining me, whether that's on 94.1 on your FM dial, sasportstar.com, or if you're listening and watching on YouTube, that's right, all of our shows, the Morning Huddle from 6 to 10, the Blitz from 2 to 6, and right here from 6 to 7 on Extra Innings, we've got you live on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can comment along, or feel free to call in 210-656-ESPN, 210-656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. Lots to get into today, including those San Antonio Spurs, and we'll keep you updated on how they're doing throughout the night. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can probably watch the game over my shoulder. But lots to get into when it comes to the San Antonio Spurs, including this morning on the Morning Huddle when AJ and Rob were talking about the Spurs' road back to relevance.
It sucks that we're talking about more about who they should draft rather than having a chance at the playoffs. But again, it's still a positive line. You know what I mean? And it couldn't have been worse than it was last year, but you still like the trajectory.
Well, who doesn't? I mean, think about where they were. Let's go back 4 years. 4 years ago, by this time, I think Primo was already off the team. Was he already sent home? First round draft pick.
Just a total waste.
Was just an utter waste. We had other things going on. We knew things were bad and getting worse. We had just drafted. We had Blake and Wesley. Blake Wesley and Brenham, I'm sorry. Drafted two of the same dude in the same. I mean, it's kind of like it didn't look like there was much of a bright future. And then there's this tall, skinny French kid, and everything kind of changed. So if you'd have told me where we were and where we are now, it's leaps and bounds where we would have expected to be.
And if you win 20-something games a year ago, like generally it's a long road back from that. There's exceptions. The Grizzlies won 27 games last year. We know why. You know, their best, they dealt with all kinds of injuries, but their superstar was
playing with guns.
Yeah, was out for a good chunk of the season. But the only other 20-win teams in the Western Conference were 22-win Spurs and 21-win Blazers. And you know what? The Blazers are probably feeling like they're on about the same timeline as the Spurs. Like they're feeling like, oh, because they're playing as what they're right there with the Spurs.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we look back on wherever the Spurs end up in a couple of years, you can't draft any better than Wemby and Castle. I mean, literally, there's not been too many teams in the history of the NBA that drafted two guys that are going to be all-stars for most of their career.
Yeah,
in 2 consecutive years. You just don't ordinarily get that lucky.
It'd be like getting Shaq and Penny back to back.
Basically, that might be the closest example, short of Magic and then Worthy. You know, where you go, how? And the Spurs managed to pull that off, which on its face is absolutely, I mean, it's 1 in 1,000 shot. So we're so much further ahead than we thought maybe could have been. But the fact is, there are still some deficits that the Spurs haven't reached. There's still some of the talent acquisition isn't quite there. We need to get some dudes that need to fit, even though we like the guys we have, they might not necessarily fit. So there's some tough decisions that are going to have to be made sooner than later as we try to progress. I mean, now's the time to make those tough decisions. And we didn't really have to make one during the trade deadline. There wasn't a really hard decision to make. We held on to the guys we liked. We got rid of the dudes that needed to go. We're about to get to the time where we're going to lose some guys we like, and it's going to be because they got to go.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really early to tell on Castle, but it does look promising.
AJ, I'm going to say it. Let's not dance around it. He's a home run. He's an all-star in 2 years. Barring injury or idiocy, he's an all-star. There's no doubt in anybody who's watched him play. And they go, except for something above the, inside the ears, everything else shows you he's got the mentality. He's certainly got the body. He's got the skill set, and he's better today than he was last week.
I would like it if he didn't think he was a shooter still.
Well, who knows if he's not? I mean, he's a baby.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
I mean, by every measure, he is a resounding success. We can say it now. We're more than halfway through his rookie year. We can all admit, pat ourselves on the back. This was a home run. This was as good as they could have done in 2 consecutive drafts.
Yeah.
Not a lot of teams can say that.
No, you're right.
Unfortunately, you have to be awful to get there, but to be successful at it, yeah, it's a rare thing.
Yep. The end result of this season, I think that we're always going to say, well, what would have happened if Pop would have been around? But as long as there's some sort of clarity going into next year, I think that next year starts the playoff run. And the Spurs next year, when they get there shouldn't be like an in and out of the playoffs with this core. Like it should be
I want to
permanent.
Clarity from coach, clarity from players. What do you
clarity on the coaching situation, like what's going to happen going forward? Because there is none right now.
No, I agree with that, and I assume I have to. They are with military precision already working on whatever the next is. But as far as the players, we have to, if we're going where we want to go and deciding playoffs, yes or no, we'd love to be there and we can do everything we can to get there, but we also have plans for next year. If that's the case, when we get back from the All-Star break and Chris Paul plays in his last All-Star weekend, Chris has got to go to the bench.
I mean, I think he has to.
Yeah. Can we all agree with that?
Yeah.
He has to go to the bench. I'm not saying cut his minutes. I want him closing games. I certainly want him there in the last 5 minutes, but he doesn't necessarily need to be there in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
so
I'm with you.
I think that's the next step in the progress is having a conversation with Chris Paul, which really shouldn't be that difficult. I think he's been around the league long enough to know, yeah, I probably need to get out of the way for this guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would be that big of an ask, but I do think coming back, that's the next step in the Spurs future is let's get that backcourt playing together now because that's what's going to be there next year.
Yeah. The other thing I thought about when we were going through this, did Steph and Klay Thompson go in back-to-back drafts, or was there a year in between?
It was pretty close.
Maybe it's Steph and then a year off, and then Klay and then Draymond back-to-back. But I was trying to think. I'm having a hard time. Like, who are the all-time? I'm sure there's like a Reddit thread or something about the greatest players drafted in back-to-back years by a franchise. But yeah, that'd be. I'll try and do some research on that during the break and see if I can come up with some. But if Wemby and Castle become something like that, I mean,
I think when at the end of this season, it shouldn't be if. It should be the statement be they should, and we need to act like they should. There's no reason, apart from utter catastrophe, that those two don't become that. We see it all. We don't need to dance around the fact that they can do everything we've asked them to do, and there's no reason other than calamity that it shouldn't happen. And now we have 3. I mean, let's be realistic now. When we start the season next year, we are going to have 3 guys on the All-Star ballot. And probably all 3 of them are going to get enough votes to get in. Now, I'm not sure all 3 will, but There's no way that Wemby does not have the gravitational pull to pull one more dude with him into the All-Star game next year.
I would think
and
so.
You'd think that would bring two of them in when you're talking about a De'Aaron who's a human highlight film and Steph Castle, who is also a human highlight film.
Right.
Look, there is a lot to be said, and Rams asking on our YouTube live feed, and you can join on YouTube live, search SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can comment along like he did. He say, thinks the next big step is bringing in a coach to run this team for the rest of Wemby's career. You may be very well right there, because the more I see of Mitch Johnson, the more frustrated I get, and he has been thrust into a position this year that he, in fact, in all likelihood, probably has not been ready for. You know, when Pop comes back, that's going to be a difference maker for this team as they move forward. Gilbert says he wants CP3 to close games the way Manu did. He still thinks Manu could probably give him 6 minutes at the end of the game. Look, they saw him at the pickleball place, the King of Paddle, not too long ago, and he was working it out there. So I would not bet against Manu still having a good 6 minutes left in him at the end of games. But as far as it pertains to the roster and the lineups and how the Spurs need to approach this, and they mentioned bringing Chris Paul off the bench after the All-Star game, and it's also something that was echoed by the Blitz a little bit later. And I agree yet disagree, and I'll explain next and where I think the future of this team is headed. We'll discuss coming up right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Thursday on the Morning Huddle, the NBA first half of the season winding down. Celtics and Spurs, we'll talk about it.
And is it ever too early to start talking football for next year? We'll take a look at the odds going into the 2025 season. Party starts at 6. Don't be late.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
At the Institute for Functional Health, we are dedicated to helping you live life fully, playing with your kids, golfing, and feeling great without relying on pills. We're not about treating symptoms temporarily. We're about extending your health span, the years you live in good health. I'm Dr. Torres, and for over a decade, my team has transformed lives by tackling health issues at the root. Tired of medications without real answers? Take control of your health with us. Call 210-468-1891 for a free Discovery Day consultation or visit iffhealth.com. Improve your health span today.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that Black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, bounce dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry,
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Of course, your comments, conversations, always welcome at SA Sports Star on YouTube. Yerd says, personally, he thinks we should reserve judgment on Mitch until he has a season with him as the full-time head coach. He still has to worry about Pop coming back right now. Everybody deserves a fair shot. And to be fair, Mitch does as well. But there are times when you're going through things where you expect to see growth. And this will feed into a little bit further into the show after we start talking about what the Blitz had to say about the rotations. Rotations have been weird, stagnant, timeouts always feel like they're too late. And I've heard players talk about making the same mistakes and not adjusting to what others are doing, other coaches, other teams, not having great in-game adjustments. And when I hear players talking about stuff like that, I start to wonder, because you do have a short time between now and when Wemby is due for that extension. And everything you do from here on out must be with the best for Victor Wembanyama in mind, because he has said all the right things. He has done all the right things. But at some point, you have to start seeing progress. And with the San Antonio Spurs, the progress has not been as steady or as fruitful as we would like, even with the addition of De'Aaron Fox. And I know we are just a few games into this. With De'Aaron Fox, it's the same consistent problems. Giving up huge leads. getting big leads, but giving those up and those turning into hanging on for dear life or just choking the lead away. And all of a sudden, the next team comes back. The Blitz earlier today was also talking about Spurs Celtics tonight and what they want to see with Chris Paul eventually finding his way onto the bench.
Spurs play tonight against Boston. And quite honestly, I look at tonight's game and I think the only way the Spurs have a chance is if Boston's already in vacation mode since it's the final game before the All-Star break.
Yeah, that's true. And will the Spurs be that way? That's a question. Spurs, look, they won against Washington the other night, but I wouldn't say they look great doing it. Washington just sucks.
Well, they do. I mean, Spurs look good for a couple of three quarters, but I mean, same old problem for the Spurs. Big lead, blow big lead. This one they hung on and won. So many of them, they have it. Now they are playing Boston. We know Boston is a good team. Washington isn't. And even though the Spurs aren't a great team, I can imagine it's tough to get excited and get up to play Washington. Different story when it comes to the Celtics.
I don't think so. I don't think they have. But like I said, man, you have what you know what they're going to do. Obviously, it's a very make or miss league. But we have to go out here and make it as tough as possible on them, on JT, on JB, and then they get everybody else involved. So you make it difficult on those two, and you give yourself a good chance to win.
That's true. Absolutely. They got to be a little fired up. I don't care what time of the year it is. It's Boston, the defending champs, right? So you got to get a little fired up. You're in their place, iconic building. I mean, if you're not fired up, you need to find another job.
Well, and again, I mean, it is Boston as well as the Celtics have been playing. The fact that they're only an 8.5-point favorite tonight surprises me.
Are you going to bet them then?
No. But the Aaron Fox did say how important it is to kind of gauge yourself against one of the better teams in the league.
I mean, this is an important one, obviously. And obviously, this is one of the better teams in the league, both on the road and at home. But you have to come out here and you know what they're going to do. You know they're going to shoot 53s. You know there's going to be a lot of isolation. So a lot of it has to do with just being able to man up and try to get them off the line as much as possible. But they have an identity and they stick to that.
Well, here's a good idea, Spurs. I'm no coach, but a little free advice from your Uncle Joe.
Here we go.
Don't try to match Boston's 53s. All right, how about that? Yeah, you see them shooting threes, it doesn't mean you have to do the same thing. Just, try to hang in there, score. But you don't have to shoot 53s. Let Boston do that. Off my lawn. Yeah, well, sure. Just a little free advice.
Unless they're making them. If you're making them, keep shooting them. If you're 1 for 9, maybe stop. But if you're 5 for 8, keep shooting it, Wemby. And I mean, that is part of Wemby's game, and I love that people want to bitch about the number of threes he takes when he has a 1 for 9 night. And nobody bitches when he's 5 of 8, like in the last game, part of it. But a couple things that you want to see, and we are seeing it. And De'Aaron Fox talked about just those two, Wemby and Fox on the court together. Every game, the chemistry is getting better and better.
Oh, well, one, you can throw the ball to the moon and he'll go get it. But, I mean, he's such a dynamic player. I mean, Washington continued to ice us, and Vic's just sitting there shooting warm-up threes. I think he made 3 or 4 in the first quarter. So he's a very unique player, and it definitely takes time to learn to play with someone like that. But at the end of the day, man, he makes the game easier for you both offensively and defensively. So working with that, I mean, it's a blessing, but two, it does take a little bit of time to work on that.
Absolutely. I love what De'Aaron Fox has been able to do. And what has he been here? 3-4 games, something like that. Give him another, 10, 15 games, and I think they'll all be clicking. I really do, just for what he can do. It's going to be interesting to see what happens after the All-Star break. You had a video on Instagram. It's up right now talking about it's time to bench Chris Paul. And I think there's a lot to that. I've even seen some national stories saying the same thing. I mean, look, love the guy. He's a Hall of Famer. He's all of that, and he's done wonders teaching the Spurs and being that coach. But, I mean, Chris Paul at 41 is not the same Chris Paul at 25, not even close, or even 31 for that matter. And I just think it's time I don't care what promises were made. The hell with that.
Well,
you gotta play to win now. It's time for the Spurs to start winning basketball games.
I mean, it's the stretch run. You're in the final 30. You've got a chance of being a playoff team. You look at just how damn good Steph Castle has been. And right now, leader in the clubhouse for Rookie of the Year. But his minutes have been sacrificed since De'Aaron Fox has showed up because of Chris Paul.
Yep.
Now, I honestly, I'm torn on the idea of Chris Paul to the bench because Steph Castle has been a great spark off the bench, playing the old school Manu role. And I certainly don't mind that because you need some production from the bench, and he's providing that. But he also needs more than 20 minutes a game, and he should be getting up more than 20 minutes a game. I don't want to sacrifice Steph Castle's development because he made a promise to Chris Paul when he got here that he could play. The situation changed when you pulled the trigger on the trade for De'Aaron Fox. That changed everything, and Steph Castle has turned out to be that guy.
He has. And I've got a way to fix everything to where you can still honor Chris Paul, have him play, and help with the development of Stephon Castle. And maybe help the team out even further ways. I look at he says, when the Spurs are hitting shots, they can compete with the best of them when they're hitting shots. That's the problem. They're not always hitting shots. They don't have a lot of scoring and a lot of floor spacing. So I've got a couple of ways to fix this. One can be this year. One can be this summer. When it comes to right now, look, you don't have to bench Chris Paul to start Steph Castle. I think this is the best way to actually go about making this team better this year. You start Steph Castle. You continue to start Chris Paul because he is that calming influence and veteran that you need in the starting lineup, especially while De'Aaron Fox is getting up to speed on the offense. But remember earlier this year when Greg Popovich was coaching this team, Devin Vassell was hurt, and it was due to injury, but Steph Castle was starting. And then when Devin Vassell was coming back from that injury, from the offseason, the surgery, he started on the bench. The bench needs someone like Devin Vassell back there. And Steph Castle, to me, is a person that knows how to fit within the offense in terms of knowing where his spots are without having to have the offense run through him, right? You got Fox to be able to do that. You got Wemby to be able to do that. You need people that can play off of those guys. And Steph Castle does that so well. Plus, he guards multiple positions on the floor, which at a much higher level than that of Devin Vassell. What are you lacking with your second unit? Scoring punch. At least Devin Vassell knows his role. He's instant offense when he comes off the bench. He helps. And he helps in the terms that it doesn't have to be Keldon Johnson that has to be that person. I trust Devin Vassell more than I trust Keldon Johnson, but at the same time, I'm getting kind of to the point where I'm sick of Devin Vassell, at least Devin the starter. And I think if he finds a role more suited to him, more like a mono role, more like the way he's been used earlier this season, get Stephon Castle back into the starting lineup, I think that helps that team this year. Now, I will say this. I will say this about the future. Because to me, I look at what this team needs. It needs floor spacing. It needs a big. Well, it needs floor spacing more than anything. It needs somebody that consistently can hit from behind the arc and score at 3 levels. Kevin Durant is going to request a trade this offseason. Kevin Durant can set you up for a win now window that leaves you financial flexibility moving into the future as well. Because when you extend him past this final year of his deal, you're talking about 2 to 3 years. You're talking about a 3-year window. Well, by the time his contract's coming off the books, you're now worrying about Wemby and Steph Castle's contracts coming onto the books, which means you can easily move away from him. That provides you with go-to scoring and clutch situations. It provides you with behind the arc firepower that you are currently lacking. And it also provides you with the ability to really stress a defense while moving other players, like whether it is Vassell or Keldon or whoever it may be that ends up going to the second unit, or maybe you use them in a package with picks to acquire him this offseason. However it goes down, you help improve the team, but you also hurt other teams that may, quote, may be looking to go for him, because reports are the Houston Rockets are also rumored to want to make a run at him. And Houston is already ahead of San Antonio in their development and where they are and where they sit in the standings. And if they make the move to go get a Kevin Durant, now you're chasing them again. Why not get in front of them with that player before they have the chance? This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Ram says that Devin's inconsistency is why he has to be benched. Agreed. He is the most inconsistent starter in the Spurs lineup. Harrison Barnes, I trust. Steph Castle, when he's been in the starting lineup, I trust him. You're not taking out Wemby or Fox, but at least Chris Paul provides the ability to know the offense, initiate the offense, and do things other than have to score 30 points a game. But you do still need people in there that can play off of that, and I don't trust Devin Vassell to be that person. At least let him have the green light off the bench. Right now, it feels like he doesn't know when it's time to take over, when it's not, what his role is, where he is when he's with the starting unit because of all these new additions and the things that they need. Why not then move him to the bench and just go, when you're in, green light? It's kind of like what Manu was for a long time. And if you need him in crunch time, he can be there. If not, put in Steph Castle. I'd technically put in Steph Castle. I trust his defense. I trust his ability to fit with the guys that command the basketball. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. When we come back, Dallas Cowboys, always in the news, as it is time to start looking to the future when it pertains to this upcoming NFL season. Now we got the NFL Scouting Combine coming up, free agency, and then the draft. How are these teams set up, and how close are they to actually taking that step into competing for what the Eagles just competed with? That is coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM.
From a fender bender to a total loss, Davis Law Firm has a team of expert attorneys ready to get you back on the road with the verdict or settlement you deserve. Y hablamos español. Want more? Call the Fours. Davis Law Firm, San Antonio, 444-4444.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
Methodist Care Now Urgent Care has 18 locations throughout San Antonio, open 7 days a week. From injuries and illnesses to school and sports physicals, Care Now Urgent Care is here to help you feel better fast. Find a location near you at carenow.com and use our convenient web check-in today.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Folks, there's nothing romantic about home repairs, but when your plumbing has lost that love and feeling and your AC is about to achy break your heart, call Quarterman Plumbing, Heat, and AC at 210-651-5899. We'll fix the issue fast at a great price with a servant spirit.
Joel, this is a special Valentine gift from me to you.
Yeah, but why are your arms red?
I got a deal on this plant for your office.
That's poison ivy, Nigel.
It's what?
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899. License number TACLA 141074E and 16004.
You know, the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redmond Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
There are some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a large unexpected inheritance. An always on the verge of death phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone, up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard, so you can get a new one. Just trade in any phone from our top brands on any unlimited plan. With new line on My Plan. Additional terms apply for trade-in and pay off your phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tomorrow morning at 6, Ride to Work with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. It's the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. If you want to be a part of the conversation, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Ram, 1 of 11 to 3. Horford and Tatum cooking. That's right. Tatum with over 14 points in the first half. Celtics lead 37-19. Went for on about a 4 or 5 minute stretch there where they outscored the Spurs like 18-2. Turnovers, etc., etc. Missed shots, missed open shots. Very, very difficult to watch as the Spurs definitely struggling right now against the Celtics. First quarter, 37-19. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on with that as we continue the show. But the Dallas Cowboys, they have entered off-season mode. And it comes down to the point now where you start looking around the NFL at teams and where they are in comparison to where the Eagles just finished, which is where everybody's trying to get to which is a Super Bowl. And they were talking about Dak's comments about how close they were and how close teams actually are to competing with the Eagles.
Dak said something as funny that way. Maybe it will work out for him as well.
I feel like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when they're the guys holding the trophy right now. So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserved it by all means. But, yeah, very close, especially even watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year a couple of times. And as I said, feel confident about we've gotten the better part each and every time. To see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn and it's on us.
Yeah, apparently Dak doesn't remember what this year was like against the Eagles. They destroyed them in both games. But you look at historically, Dak has a really great record against the Eagles. Even those good Eagle teams that went to a Super Bowl or, had that great run last year before the collapse. So maybe that's what he was reflecting on, not scoring 6 and 7 in 2 games this year while giving up more than 30. But
well, obviously all that matters to Dak Prescott is winning the regular season. So he's done that against Philly and Washington and all of them. He's won the regular season. Congratulations, Dak. You are the man.
ESPN.com has an article today about tiers, NFL overhaul tiers. Who's contending and rebuilding in 2025? And they break the tiers up. Major contenders on the cusp need a postseason breakthrough. Teetering contenders headed on the right track and stuck in the middle, but a move or two away. And that is where they have the Dallas Cowboys, kind of stuck in the middle, a move or two away. And you wonder, right? You look at the draft picks that they have this year. It really does start with Micah Parsons and how quickly they sign Micah Parsons early in this offseason. If they sign him early and then they do some free agency shopping, which would be unlike the Cowboys, but if they are all in this year, then there's a chance that they could literally be a move or two away from being a contending team again, or stay with what they're doing, and then they're going to drop into the bottom categories and just be in quarterback purgatory with Dak Prescott's contract.
That's exactly right. Look, they're going to have to redo his contract, and they've got some people that they need to re-sign before they can even think about going out and doing that. Everybody's talking about Osa Odigizua, right? That he should be a priority for the Dallas Cowboys, and because he's playing well, he's going to get better. He's the guy that they need to sign and keep, but knowing how good he is, other teams are going to be eyeing him as well. I mean, and why wouldn't they? So if he gets an offer, is Jerry going to match that and make him rich? That's going to be the thing to watch there, especially some key free agents for the Cowboys. As it stands right now, according to this article, and I saw another one that I thought was a little bit lower, but they are negative $10.4 million with the salary cap. So they're over the cap, $10.5 million. That's got to change, and the only way that's going to change is for Dak to redo his contract, and I'm sure he will. He's done it before. CD, they may go to him as well, and who knows who else.
Probably Diggs. And quite frankly, they could almost get even if they released Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker. That's $9 million right there. So, I mean, the salary cap gymnastics, like you look at Dak's cap number today and you go, what are they going to do? That number at 90 is not going to stay at 90. And they will figure out a way to make all that work. So don't get hung up on where that cap number is today, because by the time the new league year starts, that stuff will take care of itself. What I find interesting is the group that ESPN has the Cowboys in, stuck in the middle, but a move or two away. Same with the Atlanta Falcons. They're in that group. The Indianapolis Colts are in that group. So are the San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers have a lot of questions. They've allowed Debo to seek a trade. They've got to figure out what they're going to do with Brock Purdy and his extension. George Kittle's a year away from free agency. Are they going to invest some money there? That defensive tackle they have that's going to be a post-June 1 cut likely. And the Cowboys are right now kind of middle of the pack. When you look at, again, their rankings on ESPN, headed on the right track is like the Broncos, Chargers, Rams, Bucks, Seattle, Washington. So they're not quite, all those teams not quite there yet. If you're a Houston Texan fan, they've got you listed as a teetering contender, along with the Bengals and the Steelers.
That's about right, I would say, for Houston. Look, they've had a couple of decent playoff runs, though. So, I mean, they do have that going for them. They need to add some offensive line help for sure.
I would have put the Texans in the need a postseason breakthrough category with Green Bay and Minnesota. I think that's more. I think Houston with C.J. Stroud and with Will Anderson, you've got a couple of cornerstones on both sides of the ball. I know that Houston needs some offensive line help, but I think they're a little bit further than teetering contender, if you will. I mean, they're in the same category right now with Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh doesn't know who their quarterback is going to be. So
yeah, well,
you've got a franchise quarterback on a rookie deal. Houston has to capitalize sooner rather than later. Cincinnati, they've got so many contract issues. I could see where, depending on how they do that, depends on what category you're going to put them in. Houston stars are all on rookie deals for the most part. So they, to me, need that postseason breakthrough. They feel like they're that close to where, if Kansas City's still a contender, sure. Buffalo's still a contender, sure. Baltimore's still a contender, sure. I don't know if I want to put Houston in that category, but I put Houston in that next category.
Well, look, depending on what they do, but yeah, I'm with you. They've got some holes to fill, though. Stephon Diggs most likely not coming back there. They still have one of the best wide receivers in the business, though, and they've got a damn good running back to go with that quarterback. So get some offensive line help, and I would say it could be a breakthrough. They damn near had it this year. They gave Kansas City all they could handle, and so they damn near got it done this year. Houston's future is bright. I have no doubt that Houston is going to be just fine. You talk about Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's already said he's going to restructure his deal. And because they've got a lot of people they want to sign. They've got Jamar Chase, who is priority number one. Trey Hendrickson, the pass rusher, he needs to get paid. And then what do you do with T. Higgins? Are you able to keep him as well? So if they do all of that, they obviously need some defensive help. But if you do all of that, Cincinnati's going to be in there.
And T. Higgins might be the wild card there, who says right now he might take less.
He's been talking to Micah Parsons, huh?
But easy to say because, man, that guy on the open market would command a boatload of money.
So would Micah Parsons.
Yeah, but Micah's not eligible for the open market.
Exactly. Micah, you have control of for a long time. When it comes to this offseason, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens, whether it's the Cowboys, because with the Cowboys, it all boils down to Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb. Will they get these deals done early? Will they absolutely start to get these restructures done early so that they can actually do something in free agency to help bring this team along? Because I will tell you this, I do think they're closer than a lot of people think, because this team has won 12 straight games 3 years in a row. This was the first year they didn't make the playoffs. And in large part of that, Dak Prescott was injured for a good chunk of it. And even before that, this team never got its footing under it early because of all of the tension that was brought through training camp, through the offseason, through the lack of extensions, through the lack of coaching certainty. This team was set up to fail from the second the season ended, and nothing was done on any front by the front office. Will the front office rectify those mistakes this offseason? We'll find out here in a few weeks as the NFL league season starts right in the middle of March. And then, of course, we've got the combine coming up at the end of this month. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star. When we come back, your reactions, what's going on in the game, and more. It's all coming up right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Thursday on the Morning Huddle, the NBA first half of the season winding down. Celtics and Spurs, we'll talk about it.
And is it ever too early to start talking football for next year? We'll take a look at the odds going into the 2025 season. Party starts at 6. Don't be late.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Has a loved one died and left you an old car to sell? GiveMeTheVin.com has just launched the new service GMTVCC.com. Write this down, GMTVCC.com, which is Give Me the VIN classic and collector car buying service. GMTVCC.com will hook you up with GMTVCC Pro buyers that will appraise and offer on that 69 Chevelle, old Corvette, old truck, and especially Restamods. We love Restamods at GMTVCC.com. Don't mess with consignments or auctions. Get paid today on your classic or collector car at GMTVCC.com.
George gets justice. After being hit by an 18-wheeler, the experienced attorneys of George Salinas Injury Lawyers are San Antonio's choice for getting you the maximum compensation you deserve. With over 110 years of combined experience, they've recovered millions for their clients. 18-wheelers may be bigger than you on the road, but you can be bigger than them in the courtroom. George guarantees that you don't pay unless they win your case. Call 210-225-0909 today for a free consultation. George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
Don't let pain hold you back from living your best life. I'm Dr. Jason Garrett with Arasti. At Arasti, we're dedicated to providing fast, effective relief from pain. Whether you've been dealing with a chronic discomfort for years or have recently suffered an injury, our goal is to help you recover quickly. Our treatment is all natural, non-invasive, and covered by most insurance plans. With convenient locations nearby, relief is just a call away. Visit Arasti.com. That's AIRROSTI.com. Arasti, we fix pain fast.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? They accept Discover. Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer. Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times. Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants? These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. The San Antonio Spurs struggling against the Celtics in their final game before the All-Star break. It's going to be very interesting to see what this team looks like as they close out the All-Star break, close out the rodeo road trip, close out their time in Austin, and return back to San Antonio, because there is a litany of problems on this team. It starts at the top. And by the top, I mean ownership, everything. And it trickles all the way down and permeates throughout the team, the same way it does with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. And I just want to know, are we going to start seeing accountability when it comes to whether it's missed assignments, shots, shot selection, whatever it may be? Accountability from the top down, through the coaching staff onto the players, because it feels like something that currently is missing on this roster, and that we used to see it. We are not anymore. And I've never opined for Greg Popovich to return to the bench and be the Greg Popovich that we knew back when he was winning titles with the Big Three. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. I am James Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, X, TikTok, all that great stuff at I Am Pleasure. Follow the station at SA Sports Star. Remember, call, check on your loved ones. You never know what people are going through in life. And as always, I will see you right back here tomorrow on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
The Blitz is going to Vegas. Come along for an unforgettable Mega March weekend at Circa Las Vegas, March 27th.